Well, it's been a fantastic week, you would say, for Indian diplomacy, with the Prime Minister this time last week on Chinese soil. He had just landed in Tianjin. And within a week from sending a message from China, holding hands with both Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin, to the thaw with America this morning. It's been quite a week for Indian diplomacy, and we have someone who served as India's ambassador in both United States and Bangladesh, two critical nations for India. A former IFS officer, a career diplomat, and now a Rajya Sabha MP, Vardhan Shringla. Ambassador Shringla, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Niranjan.
Sir, good to see you, and I just want to get your perspective. It's been quite a week, sir, this week. How do you summarize this week?
Well, let me put it this way, that there's no shortage of excitement, and it's been absolutely, quite a roller coaster ride when you look at the sort of developments that have taken place involving our country, but with regard to our interface with major, players in the global stage, whether it is Russia, China, or the United States. And in many senses, we've seen, quite a sort of a seesaw situation in terms of the way things have progressed. Let me tell you, from my perspective, I had no doubt that we would be looking at, some way to take our relations with the United States back on track. I think that's what we come down to. The essence of all of this is our relations with the United States. I think the fact that there was a positive message from the Treasury Secretary yesterday, followed by President Trump, talking about a special relationship, his connect with Prime Minister Modi, the sort of fact that he has again referred to his friendship with the Prime Minister, that and also saying that he's a great Prime Minister. I think has in many senses, set the stage for our relationship to sort of, for the window to open up to take our relationship back on track. And Prime Minister Modi, I think, has been, responsive. He has also completely agreed with the sentiments expressed by President Trump. He's with regard to the relationship, and I think, there is a positive exchange at the highest levels. My own sense is that this connect between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump has always been there. It's not new. Even in the last few months, we've seen some ups and downs. But that connect has always been there. President Trump has always prefaced his messages by talking about his good friend, Prime Minister Modi. So from that perspective, this is not different. But what is different is the emphasis on the relationship. And the fact that I think both leaders want to see, a reversion to that close friendship and going back to that period of sort of a very vibrant relationship that we've always enjoyed in the last couple of decades with the US.
Sir, you said you spoke about something that you saw different this time. And let me tell you what we saw differently in the media play out. Because I remember covering Howdy Modi. I was there when both Donald Trump and our Prime Minister walked hand in hand around the NRG Stadium. What a moment that was. And from there to what we've seen in the last 1 month, most people in America, even people within the own Republican Party, were talking about how, and you were there, you served there, and all your hard work, right? They spoke about just how all of that had just come crumbling down, right? But the difference, you spoke about the difference that we saw is to all the noise that was heard from America, the comments that were made. I have to say some of them were really in bad taste. And that's what diplomacy does, right? We didn't respond. We just did what we had to. From going to China, we didn't commit to anything. There was a joint declaration, of course, and we never responded. Now, diplomacy perhaps at its best, whatever has happened in the last 7 weeks, but I wanted to get your view on it, just how we've handled this issue very maturely, despite all of those comments.
Well, I think, when you talk about foreign policy, it's also maintaining a certain trajectory, which is important to sort of keep on track, irrespective of some of the distractions that come your way. And I think a lot of the noise that you heard were really by way of distraction. Some of it was leverage, some of it was expressing a certain amount of frustration. But at the end of the day, they were distractions to what is a solid relationship, one of the most comprehensive and multifaceted relationships that we have. We have a strong trade relationship, we have an investment relationship, technology, defense, and people to people connect. And I think that is something that is difficult to take away. And my take all along has been that, we will come back to that Howdy Modi event, that Namaste Trump moment. And this is what you said. We have gone from, the very close bonhomie of those days. We had a little, a low period, but my own sense is that we are now headed back to the heydays. And, you know, um, any relationship as extensive as the one we enjoyed with the United States will have its very high and very low points as well, and there will be distractions along the way. I think a mature foreign policy would entail that you keep on track, you don't get distracted, you don't allow yourself to get distracted, and you recognize the importance of your relationship with your principal partners. And I think this is what we have done. We have demonstrated that we have the capacity to withstand some level of, I would say, distractions, provocations, you can call it what you may. We were confident in the ability of our own economy, the Atmanirbharta, move that we are making to develop our own capacities, the fact that we're developing new markets all the time with new free trade agreements, with the countries, including possibly the European Union in a short while. But at the same time, not forgetting that the US is our largest trading partner and that we have a very significant trade surplus with the United States in comparison to many of our other trading partners with whom we don't have that advantage. So I think bringing that relationship back on track is very, very critical for both countries. And I emphasize both countries. It's not a one-way track. Everything is, for a relationship to really, in many senses do well, it has to be mutuality of benefit. There has to be a mutual interest in that relationship and a mutual benefit that both countries enjoy. And I think with us and the United States, that aspect is there, and that is what has kept the relationship, on an even keel, despite the fact that there have been many difficult moments there. But I'm confident that we are now looking at a window of opportunity that we should quickly take advantage of, and look at how we can work, with our US partners in quickly securing a trade deal and moving forward.
So, some game of all of what has happened. Today, the markets are not open, but if the markets were open, right, I'm sure there would have been, you would have got a response to just these two statements. One saying that Modi is a great friend, and the Prime Minister reciprocating within hours. But everything seemed to have just melted in the last, I would say, 6 to 7 hours, right? Would you now say that, one, we have taken our steps to secure our economy with the reforms? Second, we have opened up our ties further with China. Things are moving in the right direction there. Third, if things get back on track with America, right, would you call that a win-win for everyone? These are fantastic times to be living in.
No, absolutely. I think, our policy has always been guided by our philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And we have always, wanted good relations with all countries. We obviously, that is our desire, but it's not always the case, because despite our best attempts, there are the exceptions that are, intrinsically hostile to us and act in that manner. And that is something that we can't help. But to the extent that we can, I think we have worked assiduously to try and reduce tensions, to normalize relations, as in the case with China. We have a good relationship with Russia. and we need to have a very, very, I would say, good relationship continue with the United States. And as I said, that is a two-way relationship. And today, I think that we are in the happy situation that if we can go back to taking the relationship back on track, we have also got the advantage of, in some senses, resolving some of our issues with China, trying to minimize the differences, address the issues on the border, but also move on a people-to-people connect, in terms of granting more visas, tourism, exchanges, pilgrimages, and slowly enhance the economic ties between our two countries. At the same time, we have worked on securing our supply chains, making them less vulnerable, to geopolitical situations, strengthening our capacities, whether it's in semiconductors, renewable energy, rare earths, critical and essential minerals. And from that point of view, I think we have done well in that process. So this is, in many senses, bringing things back on track. And I think we have to certainly recognize, that under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, the country has been very, very steady in the way we've handled challenges. Challenges that have been there in the past, but challenges in the current situation also. We have been able to overcome them with maturity. That is becoming of a ancient civilization like ours. And we have handled it with the level of tact and diplomacy, but firmness. We have also been firm in our belief that we can stand on our own, that we will not be pushed around, and that we are equal partners with the strongest countries in the world. And I think that has been borne out by developments of late. I've always maintained also that any relationship that can swing, to the left can also swing to the right. And I think recent, developments have borne me out in the sense that, you can always have, a swing that also comes in your way. But I think that is inevitable. I said, given the fact that we are two countries that have such strong synergies, that we need each other not only in terms of our bilateral relationship, but also in terms of the way we look at, the world, the challenges in the Indo-Pacific, a global outlook that requires responsible leadership. I think that's very important, and that's where I think those synergies come into play.
Fantastic. I'm ending this, but I just want to tell you one thing, and I don't know whether you have a view on it. You were a diplomat, you're now in the parliament, right? Would you say diplomacy has had the last word over politics in this one?
I think there is a thin line between diplomacy and politics, to be honest. I mean, a part of diplomacy is also, political, and part of, what you do in political life also is diplomacy. I mean, after all, a lot of political bridges are built through, diplomatic overtures, like meeting for dinners or, meeting in a convivial environment. But at the same time, in diplomacy, you also observe politics very carefully. You report on politics. In many countries, you are an intrinsic part of that politics that happens, especially closer home. And so, from that perspective, I think there is, as I said, a thin line. But I'm happy to transcend that line, and I'm happy to contain with a newer reality, which is politics. But I've always believed that whether I've been in diplomacy or in politics, I've worked for the interests of the people of our country and our nation, and I'll continue to do that, Niranjan.
Fantastic. Good to talk to you, sir. Thank you for speaking to us. Big day. And thank you for taking out the
Thank
time.
you.
Ambassador Shringla, thank you very much.